question remains, would it force an exodus of talent, money, high wealth residents, their companies, and all the jobs? Let's bring in Tim Descher, Executive Director of Unleash Prosperity, tracking how tax policy impacts growth and jobs, and Anthony Esposito, the founder and CEO of Ascalon 6 Capital, watching how investors and high net worth individuals respond to California's wealth tax push. Gentlemen, great to have you both with us. So, Tim, what is the impact? Do the billionaires just have so much money it doesn't really matter to them if you take, 5%?
Ask them. Ask them look over the last 10 years, what's happened in that state with the highest income tax, state income tax mixed with the federal income tax, the highest taxpayers in the entire nation. They have lost 1.6 million people. 1.6 million people over the last 10 years. That's a conservative estimate, by the way. Mm-hmm. And that equates to, get this, that equates to about $370 billion in taxable income that they have taken to other states like Florida, like Texas. It's the greatest wealth transfer that we've seen in modern history. People used to flock to California. Now they can't wait to get out because of simple policy mishaps, Edie.
Yeah, it's hard to feel sorry for the billionaires and, their massive amounts of money. But, every time I fly into Austin, Texas, I see the Tesla facility there. Elon Musk moves to Austin. The jobs all move to Austin. And that is a big thing, not for billionaires, but for everyday workers. Let's look at some of the facts, because they don't lie. We're looking at 239,000 net loss of citizens on record for 2023 and 2024, with most having income over $150,000 annually. Those already leaving name housing costs, and they're heading to places like Texas, Arizona, Nevada. Anthony, what financial incentives are there for high wealth people to actually stay in California?
There aren't any. And to be perfectly honest, Gavin Newsom should be ashamed of himself. He's running the 5th largest economy in the world. I'll say that again. California's GDP ranks 5th in the world when compared to all nations. Okay? And he cannot keep their budget balanced. So there's no reason to stay in California. He already has a billionaire class that is less than 1% of the population, paying for 40% of the personal income tax collected. If you continue to press people to degrade the quality of life, to be number 1 in homelessness, to be number 1 in illegal citizens or illegal residents in the state, and crush people, and now you want to reach into their wallet and tax both tangible and intangible assets. You're working on valuations, you're working on liquidity, you're destroying people. They're going to leave. They don't need to be there. The state is so poorly run, there is almost no reason to be there at this point.
So, Tim, let's look down the food chain a little bit. What happens to the other jobs, the startups, the local tax base, if even a small percentage of the top earners leave? If that wealth tax passes, what's the first signal you look for?
It's a great question, because think about who's paying that top income tax number. That's small business owners. There's not many exemptions there for quote unquote rich people in the state of California. So yes, they do pack up. Yes, they do leave. They do take their business with you. And then you start to see a problem. You start to let in people that shouldn't be there to take the jobs. That's why you see a lot of people overcrowding that same medical system that they're trying to prop up with this tax. They're letting in illegal immigrants. They're giving them health care. Next thing you know, they're trying to plug that gap with raising taxes on the wealthy. Well, like Margaret Thatcher said, socialism works as long as you have other people's money to spend. And when you run out of it, you don't have any more money left. So if you keep letting in people that aren't really producing, and you keep propping up, and you keep making people that do produce leave, you got a big problem, Edie, and that's something that you really have to focus on here. And I think they're in a big problem if they pass this.
Hey, Anthony, let's switch gears to another economic headline that we're watching. President Trump has publicly threatened to sue Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell for what he calls gross incompetence tied to the cost overruns at the Fed's headquarters renovation. And then, obviously, Trump's broader frustration over the interest rate policy. So could that impact everyday Americans?
The lawsuit, President Trump is basically making a statement by saying that he would sue Powell. Powell can't run a construction project. He can't run the balance sheet. He can't run monetary policy. He's proven himself to be politicized and to be biased. And the nail in the coffin was the 50 basis point cut heading into the election. So I think President Trump is just putting an exclamation point at the end of a very long sentence of his grievances with the Fed and with Mr. Powell. I don't think there'll be any love lost as Mr. Powell exits stage left. And I think most people are looking forward to that. So there is relief in sight as we start to get monetary and fiscal policy in line, which, by the way, it has not been for 4 years. As we do that, there'll be relief in sight. I don't know that there'll actually be a lawsuit. I think President Trump is just kind of pushing him out the door as he locks it behind him.
Blowing steam. Yeah, I don't think